Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all can play all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want razors, too.
I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with a new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there?
Taking bribes.
Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. And today we have a repeat guest.
Oh my God.
Kelsey Darragh.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh my
I had
God.
so much fun last time I was on here.
I'm so excited. I honestly, like, not that I don't get excited when I like see who's coming as like the guest for 1 week, but like there are times where I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so easy.
It's
and
because
so
we're
nice.
so good at talking.
Incredibly good.
There's nothing worse than when you get a guest who's like, doesn't know how to go with the punches, roll with the flow.
Oh yeah. No, it's that, or when anyone doesn't understand your sense of like humor, and then you're like, oh
yeah.
shite,
Yeah, and then it gets
let me
awkward.
adjust this.
I just had to interview a very professional person for my podcast.
Oh, wow.
And I put on this like different persona because I was like trying to impress her, and it was fine, but she was so important that I felt like I had to change my demeanor to talk to her.
It's the blazer personality where it's
Oh
like,
my
even if I'm not
God.
wearing a blazer, I'm acting as if like I have a blazer on and a pantsuit.
You nailed it. I
Yeah.
acted like I had a blazer on,
Yeah.
but like a cute, fashionable one, but still
But like you're
blazery.
Well, guys, if you're new here, this is an advice podcast. And if you want to be on an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Should we get into the calls?
Let's do it.
Give some advice?
Yeah.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Melissa. I'm calling because I have been having a little bit of a problem with my boyfriend who I've been dating for almost 3 months now. So we see each other about every day, and we probably have sex about every other day. We have sex a lot. And about every time that we do, I will go down on him. And he still has not gone down on me. And at first I thought, okay, maybe he just, isn't yet, whatever. But I brought it up to him a few times, just like, hey, maybe you want to. And he would say cute little things like, for your birthday. So I was like, okay, whatever. But then today at work, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and a girl was talking about how she had a boyfriend who would not go down on her, and she had to explain like the female anatomy to him. So I brought it up to him today, and I was just like, some girls have a harder time getting off with penetration. So I was trying to explain to him, how it would be really beneficial to me and such. But he was just like apologizing, and he said something about he had gag reflex, and I told him that I would be prepared. It would not taste bad. Everything would be okay. It was like, you don't have to go full in at first. We can go at it slow. I'll instruct you. It doesn't have to be a nervous thing. Like we talk about, we're very open with each other this soon into the relationship. And I also feel like I should point out that I am his first girlfriend he's ever had. I'm his first kiss. I'm obviously, his first person he's had sex with. So I think it is just him being nervous because he's never been in a relationship before. He's never done anything, and I am more experienced than he is. So I think that is playing a part in it. And I love him. I don't want to break up with him just because of this, because he did say tonight that he would try to work on it. I just want to know how to talk to him without like him feeling like he's being pushed. So yeah, that's about it. And I hope you guys can help. Thanks. Bye.
You love him after 3 months. Wow. That's like major.
And how old did they say?
They didn't say.
She didn't say.
I feel like it's a little bit younger.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think like late teens, early 20s.
I do know a friend that was dating a guy who was 30 and she was his first girlfriend.
Okay, but like not first kiss, like he's
not first kiss, but first relation.
Their first she's his first ever.
But how often are you going down on girls when you're not in a relation?
I mean, it's probably not enough. Like,
right?
I think like I never had like one night stand kind of things. Like I like had slept with like people I knew like one time and then was like, yeah, well, never again. But like I still knew them.
Yeah.
But I literally like think about that. I'm like, I would be so fucking, if you have one night stands, I'm like, you're not gonna, wow,
which is weird because I feel like with blowjobs, I'm like, watch this.
Oh,
like,
yes.
let me show you what I can do. This is a one night stand.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna make you fall in love with me. Yes. But I also it didn't faze me if they didn't go down on me because I'm someone who doesn't really care for fellation.
Oh, okay.
It's fine, but that's not my preference.
Okay.
So it never bothered me, but I would always take note that like I was actively going down way more on dudes than they were ever going down on me, which why?
I know. I've been incredibly lucky that I've never been like my first boyfriend when we were 16 went down on me. Like I've never dated someone who hasn't done that.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
I've never even slept, even like people I've slept with like singular times.
Wow.
So
good for you.
It's not always great, but like
sometimes you're like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So she basically wants to know how she can teach this guy because that's obviously what it is. She's never done it and he doesn't know how. But the gag reflex
I was like, you don't like put a pussy in your you don't put it down your throat.
You're not swallowing anything the way we do, first of all.
Yeah.
I think she's like, I'll prepare and like he's afraid that it's gonna like taste bad or whatever. And like I just like I know you really like this guy and I think like you're being great about this, but I think like you're being a little too nice in the aspect that like his worry and fear is like mainstream media told him that vaginas are gross kind of a thing. And like you don't need to like coddle that because like I don't think that
needs to grow up.
Yeah, and like that's an
himself.
it's an offensive thing to say to the girl that you're dating is that you're like afraid that like you're gonna gag and it's gonna be really gross and like that's not your cross to bear to be like, oh, like don't worry, like I'll like keep my stuff all like nice and clean. Like I understand that you're afraid or whatever. Like she's
going down on him too.
Yeah. Like it's just a little one-sided in that sense. And I can get like if he's like nervous and uncomfortable, but there's also a way to like be nervous without like saying things that like you didn't sound like you were offended. But but it turns into like something of like, oh, this is like a thing that's gross about your body. And like I don't know. And like I have gay friends who've like gone down on girls. They didn't enjoy it, but like they did it.
So you got to get over the fear. You know? Like I feel like that's got to be and you know what I would do? I would fully just sit on his fucking face. Yeah. I would just do it. I would literally like when he's underneath you, I would just roll up, undo my pants and fucking sit on his face.
Yeah. I mean, I would honestly do that too. Maybe have him watch some like girl on girl porn, like have it be something that's like sexy because if he's not super sexually experienced, I don't know if then the only like sexual like media and stuff that he's been consuming has been like super heterosexual, which is like, oh, I'm gonna like mouth fuck this girl until she cries and like all of that stuff that he's not seeing like that like, oh, this is also about you kind of a thing. And also if you, and like you said, you explained to him that like, hey, it can be harder for girls to come penetrative sex. If you are faking orgasms, stop it. Because that's also, I could see him being like, well, I mean, like, yeah, we're already getting there. And you're like, no, I've been lying this whole time. Like I haven't come once. Because that should also be like if you're hooking up and like orgasms are the end goal for both of you, it doesn't always have to be. But if that's the goal for both of you in that moment, and you're not getting there, like he shouldn't feel good walking away from the situation and be like, okay, well, we all like.
And like, is there anything, there's nothing more attractive to me than when someone says what they want in bed. Like I'm bi and I was hooking up with a girl who just was so vocal, more so than I've ever heard. I was like, oh shit, this bitch knows what she fucking wants. And it made me feel a little bit like inadequate? Like, am I doing things right? And so I think there's a balance of saying exactly what you want, because I'm going to tell you this. He's not going to be able to do it right the first time.
No.
There's every guy I've ever been with that, like, I'm comfortable to have that open conversation where I'm like, oh, ow, that's my butthole. Or like, don't do that. Like, you have to teach them, unfortunately, because guys just don't know how to do that. And women kind of don't. It's just every pussy's different. So there's going to be, you are going to have to do a little bit of that emotional labor of like, once he gets over the fear of actually going down there and doing it and getting over his ego of clearly worrying that he's not going to know how to do it, he's not going to know how to do it. So maybe there's like some way of opening up that dialogue of even just being like, look, it's going to be weird and uncomfortable. And you can bring a little bit of like humor into it. Sometimes like, we don't laugh enough during sex.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe just opening that dialogue up of like, you know, it's going to be weird and it's going to not be right. And let's just like see where we land the first time might ease his fears. But don't let him put it on you.
I would also, I give this advice all the time. Buy the book, She Comes First. There's papaya on the cover, and just read it when you're around him. It's such a sexual cover and title that he's then going to read it and then understand it more. Because I think like, him apologizing and being like, oh, I'm so sorry, like kind of in my mind, or how I took it, is that he didn't really know that women aren't necessarily coming from penetrative sex. So this is a book that like, there are step-by-step instructions. There is like, this is how you do it. Because if he's not, he has to actively go find like things that talk about how to do it. Like if he's like, I don't even know where to start, like that's like, hey, like let's like mutually masturbate. Like look how I get myself off this way. Like this is like, if you want to use like any sort of like toys, like use like a something, and then he like doesn't have to like fully go at it, and like he can just like assist and aid and like make it like a fun sort of thing.
Fingers are a thing.
Yeah. But I think like you need to like not apologize for like your body and like not apologize and like reassure someone that like you're gonna do things to not make it gross, because that also implies that like it is gross and like you could be gross, and it's not at all. And like I understand you want him to be comfortable, but there's also a level of like just like built in like male like things that happen, and like I think like everyone needs to like, yeah, you just need to be like, yeah, no, this is not happening. Like,
I always say, if you can't handle the taste of a pussy, you don't deserve to be around a pussy.
Yeah.
A pussy's gonna taste and smell like a pussy, period.
And also, like, have you smelled your balls, dude?
Right.
Like, also, you remember, okay, so I have this theory, and it's not even a fucking theory. It is literally a fact that has now been proven, that I think like sweaty, not like actively sweaty, but like post-sweaty, sweat has dried balls smell like the dry Kraft macaroni and cheese mix. Huh. And what was the science thing?
Yeah, it's like the science of it. Somebody sent us an article after she said at one time that the chemical reaction for sweat on balls in like men is like the same as the smell for macaroni and cheese.
I found that out about, that's why your pet's feet smell like Doritos. You ever smelled like the pads on a dog's foot? They smell like Fritos and Doritos, and it's the same thing.
So funny.
This is an educational podcast.
Yeah. It is. God. Yeah, but I just think about it in that sense that I'm like, that's like, there are so many things that we do that like if on paper, they're not necessarily like I don't know, like we can get over anything, and it's just like girls aren't taught to be like, oh wow, like no, like it's so gross, like I can't do it.
It's like swallow it, and put it in your lungs.
Like you're not like, if you're gonna are you a spitter? Like spitters are quitters versus guys where it's like, yeah, no, like I'm what is his fucking name? DJ Khaled. Yeah, ugh. Being like, yeah, no, fuck that, I'm not gonna eat that. Like, what? Like, that's not a cool thing.
No, it's not cool to not eat pussy, dude.
No, it's not. It's not.
Which The Rock told him.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. The Rock.
Yeah.
Dude,
can you imagine sitting on The Rock's face?
Oh my gosh.
Feels like it would be so uncomfortable.
No, I feel like it would be. So also, but he's so smooth. Like his head is so smooth.
I don't know. I feel like it would be like sitting on a saddle without jeans on.
On his head?
Yeah. Like just.
He has sharp features.
Like hard.
Yeah. Every part of his body is hard. But yeah.
The Rock.
Can you imagine?
Moment of silence for
I know.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, let us know how it goes.
And if you guys are having sex every other day,
it's
fucking time.
Yeah. Maybe you'd stop until you're like, hey, we need to get
a
over
protest.
This.
We love a
that one girl that was like, grab him by the head and say, eat my pussy.
I love that. And also like if know that also if this is the way that you come, which again, same. I've come from penetrative sex probably less than 5 times. Exactly. And so that's how I'm going to come is from someone going down on me. And if we're not meshing and you're not doing that,
that's going to be
it's a deal breaker.
Problem.
And it's not your responsibility to then change your anatomy and then you have to suddenly fake coming. So if it doesn't happen that way, you're not a bitch for being this is something I need in a relationship.
Amen.
So let us know how it goes.
Please.
Praying for you and your pussy.
Prayers for pussy.
Pussy.
Love that.
That's my 2020 slogan.
There you go.
Next one.
Hey, Megan and Melissa and guest. So I was just calling because I have a slight dilemma. So I'm 18. I just finished my first year of college, and I am sleeping with this guy at my job. And the problem is I've been working for a year now, and me and him were just friends. It was nothing serious at all. We were just friends. I was trying to set him up with one of my friends, and he was trying to set me up with one of his friends. And he ended up getting his friend a job, where we work. And I met him, and he was super nice. And then I gave him my number, and we were talking for a while, a couple weeks, just FaceTiming and texting. And then he kind of just ghosted me. But we would see each other at work, and it would be oh, hi, and that was it. And then his friend, the guy who was working there that was setting me up with him, started hitting on me, and then we started talking more, and I went over to his place to hang out, and we ended up fucking, and it was great. Best sex of my life, even though that's not saying much since I'm 18. And the problem is his friend is no longer ghosting me and is talking to me again. And I don't know if if he told him that we did or if he didn't tell him that we did. And there's this other guy at my job that I already slept with months ago, and he wants to do it again, but it was terrible, so I'm never doing that again. So I just kind of keep dodging him, and I kind of don't know if they talk back there because they're all kind of just friends. And I don't know if anyone has said anything, and I just don't know if I should keep talking to the friend or keep talking to the guy that I did sleep with, not the first guy from months ago, but the guy that was the best sex of my life, or if I should just not bring it up and keep doing it and then go back to school and pretend it never happened. So, any advice would help. Thanks.
Wow. Good for you, first of all.
I don't know why my mind went to she works at Dairy Queen.
Oh my God. I thought of Pizza Hut.
I thought Applebee's.
Where they're all in the back.
Yeah.
It has to be something like that.
It has to be because a corporate situation like that gets fucking messy. And that's from someone who literally fucked her entire office at one point. You gotta keep it at a job you don't care about, because the second you start to intersect a job you care about with sexual relationships, trust me, no one is an exception. With this rule. It will get fucking messy. You just gotta know you can handle that.
I just also can't work if I have a crush on someone,
because it's you're waiting for them to slack you when are they getting coffee? I'll get up and leave. No, I'm gonna get coffee too at the same time. It's distracting.
Yeah, no, so distracting. Okay, to be super frank and honest, I think that the guy who's trying to the one you slept with, who was trying to set you up with the other guy, I think him then hitting on you after the other guy ghosted you is because his friend gave him the go-ahead and the clear that he wasn't that into you anymore. I think that guy then slept with you, told his friend, and his friend was oh, it was great sex, because I'm sure he thought it was awesome too. And then I think he's also coming back around to try and hook up with you. To be super, super honest, I don't know if any of these people actually like you.
Yeah.
We don't know that. But does she like any of them?
She likes the third. She likes the third one.
She likes the one she slept with.
No, she likes the one that ghosted her.
Oh. But also you don't know that. You haven't slept with him.
Yeah.
I think I think you should treat all of these people like
toys.
Yeah. And that they aren't none of these people are people that you're probably going to end up dating. Also because unless anyone's really trying to, I think your best bet to preserve your I don't know, to preserve the best sex, and then also I don't want to give up good sex for the potential of sex that might be good that you don't know. I would just stick with the guy that you've slept with. Sex. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't put all your eggs in oh, we're dating. This is a thing that I would take it as this is great sex. If he wants something more, I'll assess if I want something more, but I wouldn't go into it assuming that there's anything more to it.
Right.
Because then also you said you can just go back to school.
Yeah. And that guy that you're having bomb sex with, why wouldn't you want to keep bomb sexing?
Right.
And like you said, you have no idea what this other guy's motives are. You have to assume they're all in cahoots for fucking sure.
Right.
They're all talking.
And if you start dating him, it's going to be weird because you're like, I've already slept with his two other friends.
Yeah. Right. And that's the other thing is I was going to say, like, I wonder, this is some shit I would do, which means it's probably not the right thing to do. But I would probably go in there and be like, I suck yo dick, I suck yo dick and yo dick. Y'all all my bitches. Like, I would go in there being like, I fucking own all three of your dicks.
Yeah.
But like, that might not be the right thing to do because you're wondering if you should say something. My instinct would always be to say something unless you think it's going to cause drama, because then I feel like I would have more power over it.
Yeah,
if I'm the one in control of it.
But I think it's safe to assume that they all know. Like, I don't think you need to say anything. I think you can do, like, without saying it, you can walk in the kind of way of being like, I got all y'all dicks. Like, all of you are are here for me, and like you have your pick of it. I don't think that means like switch between them. I would say like focus on like the physical stuff with the guy that you like. I think like that, like the texting and the FaceTiming and all of that stuff. I think it's pretty safe to say that like if he ghosted you once because of that, and he's not immediately coming back and saying like, hey, I'm so sorry I ghosted you. I had a weird thing with this other girl and like she came back into my life and like there was like a reason and excuse. He's just trying to pick it back up. That's like, my friend said like he got a bomb pussy.
Which like good for you.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve it.
Oh yeah. But like I stick with the guy with good sex because then also he's also like, I don't know, like he's knowing that he wins and then he's also going to be giving it good.
And then you're also like the girl that just is fuckable at work.
Yeah.
Unless
you want to be that.
But also she was trying to hook that guy up with her friend too. So
oh yeah, what happened to your friend?
Yeah.
Where's she?
Yeah, that's a cross
Becky?
situation.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
But it sounds like this is all champagne problems. Like, it sounds like you're doing fine.
Yeah.
And you know your worth. And that's, you seem very self-aware and like funny. And so you should have no problems with this.
And summer's like over. So like you said, you're going to go back to school and like, keep that dick on lock.
Yeah. And just like be confident about it. I think there's nothing to be ashamed of here. There's no like huge problem sticking out at us. It's more like, which dick do you want the most?
Yeah.
Because you could obviously have this other guy that is returning from Ghostland that you could fuck, but maybe keep that card close to you. That might be something that you could like, that's the
next
long
summer.
game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep that.
More.
Yeah.
Because if he ghosts you once, we know he can ghost you twice.
Yeah. As serial ghosters.
Halloween is coming up soon. Boo.
Yeah. I'm excited for you though.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Keep us updated.
Get tested.
Do you do updates?
We do.
Okay, thank God.
But also please get tested and wear condoms.
Yes.
I mean,
My
make
God.
them wear condoms.
Yes.
And I don't know if you're on birth control, but don't get pregnant with any of these babies because that's when we have the other issues.
Yes.
When the girls call in and be like, pregnant with my boy, like guy I dated's friend's baby, and like now I'm with the other.
Don't do that.
I know. Do you think any of the Don't Blame Me babies have been born yet?
Yeah.
Oh
there
my
should be
God.
some that have been born.
Oh my
Guys,
God.
if you're listening, please let us know. It's like these new
DM.
moms being like, bitch, I don't have time to call you.
I don't listen anymore. Yeah.
I have a child. I have bigger fish to fry.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, fine.
That's so funny.
That is good. Should we go on to the next one?
No.
On to the next. On
To the next.
Hi, Megan. So I listen to your podcast all the time, and I'm kind of hoping that Melissa gets this call as well. So I'm just looking for some advice. I'm 26 years old, and it's kind of, the more I think about it, the more it's just a really immature situation that I'm calling advice on. But long story short, because I do have 3 minutes, I had a best friend. We were best friends for like 15 years. Back when we both had turned 21, I was seeing fuckboy, which is a long story in itself, and he ended up being like really psychologically, I guess, abusive, you could say, but just constantly made me feel like I was insane. But every time I would go to her and try to reach out to her about the situation I was in, she would also make me feel like I was insane and like remark of like, he's such a great guy, I think that you're the one who's just trying to ruin this, and yada yada. So anyway, she started getting upset with me because I started separating from her because I realized that
her friendship was also pretty toxic for reasons we don't have time to discuss. And then she decided while I still had feelings for this fuckboy, but I was trying to move myself away from him in a really toxic situation, which is a very slow process. But she decided that one night she was really upset with me. She started trying to text him, trying to get him to hook up with her. And yes, I realized he was a fuckboy. There wasn't a relationship there, but I think the things that really hurt me was that when I called her on it, because he had shared the text messages with me, shared what happened, which was also really negligent on his side. I guess negligent is the word, but just really toxic, overall toxic situation. When I confronted her, she said that it was because she just wanted attention. She knew it would hurt me, but it didn't matter to her because I should have been paying her attention. So now I hang out at a bar on occasion, attend some burlesque shows, drag shows, and she has started like coming around there and making friends with a lot of people there that I'm friends with. And she's telling everyone that she was the victim in this like victimless situation. She's saying a lot of nasty things about me, that I chose her or chose a guy over her, and I just don't know how to confront the situation or if I should even bother.
That's tricky when you have a frenemy that's dragging your name.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to piss the frenemy off. Oh, this is such a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, and also girls are so smart. Like, it's not like when a guy is like, oh, I'm going to tell my friends that you all sucked my dick. But it's like when a girl can, like, girls are smart and conniving as fuck.
Yeah, because she's coming into your space, it sounds like, and trying to pick off.
I mean, she sounds wild. Mm-hmm. She sounds like she wants to wear your skin.
Fuck you.
Or fuck you.
Yeah.
It sounds, what's that? Was it like a Leighton Meester, the roommate movie?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
That's what this is.
I love
giving
Leighton
me.
Meester.
Me too.
What a hot bitch.
So pretty.
Talented.
And she's married to Adam Brody.
Yeah.
I just like Blair and Seth. I love Amanda.
Perfect.
Amanda literally straight up, you could tell her something that happened 10 years ago. And
I mean, that happened like 10 years ago.
That response was like, no way. I'm like,
but that they made it, they both made it through and are still working.
know,
like they must have gone through so much to be together.
So cute. But
anyways,
back to your problem.
we could go on a real hard tangent with Gossip Girl coming back.
I really
what a bitch.
Yeah, I think like
it's one thing if you can separate yourself from her,
Yeah.
but it sounds like your worlds are intertwined that you might not be able to do that.
I think the thing that I would say just ignore it. I wouldn't address it because the way that you've described her is like pretty clear that she's unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, the people that are in your life, you also that you really trust and you love and you take like that you really respect, you're going to figure out who of those people are good people by who believes her and who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think like it could be a quick way to weed out some people who are like just believing gossip and bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who is like good friends with you and like knows your character well, or even if they don't, but is a good person, is going to ask you about it. And then you can tell your side of the story.
And they'll make a judgment.
Yeah. But I think like I've had like friendships end and people like say so much like crazy shit about me and then have people like hate me and like go off on me and then have months later be like, hey, I'm so sorry about all of that. They did that same thing that they did to you to me. And like, I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. But I think it's just so much better to just be the bigger person, because even if someone's not looking that far into the situation and they're just hearing her talk all this shit, they're like, well, she doesn't talk any shit about you.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, even if like what you're saying,
So
like, wow, this is
one-sided.
crazy, you'll start to be like, oh, wow. And she's not saying anything back, which makes me think that this is like your own personal vendetta.
Exactly. And that it's tricky because there's a fuckboy involved who exposed her text messages. Like,
no, she sent it.
No, he showed it to her.
Oh, I thought she showed hers.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like, what a little manipulative bitch he is, too. To
They
be like,
deserve each other.
right? But, like, it sounds like even though you have feelings for a fuckboy, you know that he's a fuckboy. You know what you need to do about that.
Yeah.
And that is stop it. Mm-hmm. Stop it or play him like a fiddle. Because it sounds like he playing you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least he showed her.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But that could be like he doesn't want to lose her pussy.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I care about you. It's like, oh, I don't want to lose.
I showed you after we had a text. I didn't show you that she texted me. I showed you our conversation after we did it.
It sounds like you have a lot of power here, which is good. Like it sounds like this girl's obsessed with you and this guy's at your bending knee. So like it sounds like you have a lot of power. Just be careful how you wield that power because there's nothing worse than getting drugged down to her level with the drama. And I think you have to, like you said, it's going to be hard to be the bigger person, but it sounds like she's very capable of getting people in a position. And the fact that she also admitted to you that she just wanted attention, like that to me is so weird.
I love attention, but shit,
she's
man.
on a different level. She probably has some type of issue. She should
she's
go
unhinged.
figure out what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
I think you're right though, in that like, you can't get dragged down to her level. And I think the best way to do that is to cut ties with the fuckboy, because if you keep him around, you're tolerating that kind of shitty behavior, and you're not that I'm saying you're gonna then do shitty things, but like everything just gets skewed. If you can cut them both out, neither one is going to be as tempting because it's both toxic. And I think that would be a really great exercise for you, because like they're both toxic. Like she's a fuck girl, he's a fuck boy. Like they're both fucking
Let
with
them
you.
Live
and I say, like, if you're gonna cut her out, which I think you should, cut him out too, because like they're both treating you bad.
Because like, how do you also like? I feel like maybe we're privileged because we live in LA and this is easy
and
to
everyone
do.
Sucks.
Right? Like it's easy to drop friends, but I feel like if she's in a small town or in a situation that she can't necessarily drop her as a friend, how do you like navigate that when it's not as easy? Because I feel like here you just take up a new hobby, or you just fucking
or just don't answer anything.
Right? Yeah, don't answer anything. Like you don't have to follow them on social media, and like who cares? There's so much of that here. But when you're in a small town in a situation where that's gonna be like the talk of this girl's life, because this girl obviously has nothing else better to do going on, how do you like? How do you get out of the roommate Leighton Meester situation when?
I dropped out of college, but I was also the one getting dropped as a friend. And I was like, deuces, moving. I think you do like take up new hobbies. And I think like if you're saying that like she's infiltrating your work friends, I think you can still be friends with your work friends, because she doesn't work there. So she's not there all the time. So I think you can like focus on that sort of stuff. Or if there's friends that you have, like if you went to summer camp and you have like an old friend from camp, like maybe reach out. Or if you have any like long distance friends, if you're in college and your friends are in other colleges like across the state, maybe like for me when I didn't have a lot of friends, like long distance friendships where I like that's where I invested my energy. Start a new show on Netflix, like do anything. And I have said this, like I would rather have no friends than shitty friends. Like I would rather be by myself and have nobody. And I say this as someone who like definitely had a lot of shitty friends. And then finally I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah,
like,
you don't have
what's
to.
the point? Like, it's not like, it sucks to not have any friends, but also like, I'm going to go out of my way to make friends if I don't have any. And I'm not going to like, just see like, oh, you remind me so much of that friend that I have and they suck, but I'm just going to like completely be blindsided by it. But I think you just got to focus on like yourself, and also like imagine like you learn a new language and like you have your shit together and this girl's just like bad mouthing you and you're like, I speak Latin now.
Yeah, bitch.
Dead
you
language
upgraded
too.
Yourself. Exactly. Yeah.
But I vouch and I vote for cutting both of them.
Both of them for sure.
Agree.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. Well, guys, we're back from the break, and it's time to hop into the rest of the calls.
Yay.
Hi, Megan. Love your podcast. Just calling in with a relationship issue. So I'm 21, live here in the U.S., but I'm currently in a BDSM relationship with a guy who's a few years older, but we met online and he actually lives in Australia. So definitely a bit of issue. We usually just interact through an anonymous like texting app, so no like personal information really has been exchanged. We just engage in an online based relationship, and it's been really good for both of us so far. But I don't know if it's a me thing or maybe just like a girl thing, but I easily get attached, and I can feel feelings starting to develop. It's been about 3 months since we started, and he's just a really great guy. Not just about like sexual things, but he just really makes me feel cared for and special, and like he really wants to be there for me. But it's just hard, since it's long distance, first of all, big time difference. And I don't know if we'll ever get to see each other and meet in person, like physically. Yeah, and I think that's the issue that I'm struggling with. Like I said, there's starting to be feelings, and I do want to meet him and to see him if it's feasible. But I don't know if he would want that or if it's even possible. But yeah, I don't know if I should tell him and just talk about it, because it's kind of hard to discuss these more serious things like just over text. And I also don't want him to, like not feel the same way, and then me feel like a fool for even thinking that he would want something like that. But yeah, I just really want to know if it would be feasible, or if I should maybe pull back a little bit before I get to her. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Anything you can say or any thoughts you have on it would be very helpful. So thanks. Love you.
It's like an online BDSM relationship.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that.
I'm not educated enough to
Dom situation, so like emotional dominance or financial dominance, or
that's what I'm trying. Yeah, because it's not physical, or is it
mastery type slave shit where it's like back and forth,
or like go do this thing, send me a picture kind of thing?
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, me too.
Or even just like role playing via online,
that like sexting, but like in a BDSM sort of way.
My advice is shoot your motherfucking shot, because he's in Australia, right? And you're in the States, and you don't have any plans to do that unless you have plans to do that. Always shoot your shot.
Yeah, I agree with you, because you don't, if it doesn't work out
There's
well,
no stakes.
There really is no stakes. And like you saying like, oh, like I don't want to feel dumb. I mean, I hate to break it to you. It's an inevitable thing.
Yeah.
Like, and when you tell someone that you have feelings for them or whatever, I always think, and I always say that it needs to be because you want to say it. It's not because you want a certain response out of them. Like if you only like someone and you're only comfortable saying it because you know they feel it back, like then it's you don't like them enough to feel like you need to tell them. Like then I would say just move on. But if you're truly just like way too afraid and uncomfortable to do it, then you have to like ghost him and like quit talking to him. Like there is no option in which like there's no I'm not gonna say like, oh wait 3 months and then he'll definitely feel the same way. Like if he feels the same way, he already feels the same way. And if he doesn't, he's not going to. So like shooting your shot, again, like you said, no stakes. But I would also be smart about it. And like, I don't know what you also, you know, a side of him and he knows a side of you. You as much as like, your time difference is like it's mostly on like an anonymous texting app. So you're really falling for like just a portion of somebody.
Yeah.
So I would also say if he does reciprocate and you guys are like,
yeah, what if he's not what you want?
Yeah, I would say like do get a lot of information before you would end up if you eventually met up. Like get like full name,
Oh my
get
God,
like face,
pictures,
get all of like
multiple photos,
background check, do all of that kind of stuff, because like you don't want to end up in a dangerous situation. Not that I'm saying that like anyone who's involved in this culture is a dangerous situation, but it's just more of the a relationship with anyone anonymous, regardless of how that relationship has like come to fruition. You have to be careful because you're seeing what they want to see.
Yeah, that's like a lot of times on like Catfish when they're actually the real people that they say they are, and then they date afterwards. It doesn't last that long because they're only seeing a certain portion of who they are.
That's part of the sounds like the kink of what you're doing is that it's anonymous, and maybe the taboo-ness of it is what's keeping it sexy. And if you remove that veil, you have to be comfortable with knowing that you might lose this kink partner too. So knowing that like you're setting yourself up, how much do you like this person? Are you okay with losing them? And this, what seems like specific type of kink relationship as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he's like, oh my God, no, this is an anonymous thing. Like, what if he's married?
Yeah, that's
and like, you know, has a whole ass life, and this is his way of staying sexy and making it work. Is you have to consider all scenarios that could be true. Like, I guess we didn't hear how much she actually knows about this guy.
No, although you mostly talk on the anonymous texting app, which if you're still talking on an anonymous texting app, that's. And I would say
try and
also,
move it to messaging or WhatsApp or something.
I'm not super familiar, again, with like the BDSM community, and I don't know what your experience has been. And maybe if it's something that like you've felt kink shamed and you haven't found a lot of support, and so you found someone through this app who's into the same things as you, and that's really enticing. I think kinks are like, everyone's into so many different things. I think if you're looking to pursue a relationship with someone, I don't think an anonymous based app is the place you're going to find like-minded people who are looking for that too. I think like that's, like you said, that's to me in my mind where people would go if they don't want it to like come to their real life, quote unquote. Like they want to keep it really like sectioned off. But there's like BDSM like groups and clubs and like local based things where you can like meet people face to face, or like have a little bit of like it's a safety within that community, but it's not people there aren't like, that's in my mind I would see that as being a place that you could end up dating someone who's also into the same things as you. But I think like as I'm all for like shooting your shot and going for it and trying, but I think like knowing that there is a high likelihood and a high chance that he's on an anonymous app for the reason that he doesn't want it to get more personal than that.
Step one is like try and move it off that anonymous, and just see how that goes. And if he's like absolutely not,
that's a good call.
Take it as a sign of like we should keep it here. And then if you can handle that, keep it. But if you can't handle that, then because it's anonymous, so who cares?
That makes total sense. So like if you can get him to WhatsApp you, and then maybe it's exchanging more information about each other. I think you should get information about him. I don't think that you should be the one forthcoming about your own information. You can send pictures if you want, like of like parts of your body if you're not already doing that, but like getting more info, and then seeing from there. I think that's a good way that you're not like wearing your heart on your sleeve, telling him, hey, I have feelings for you. But it's a good indication if he's sees this as something potentially more in that same way that you do. I think that's a good call.
Good job on us.
Yeah.
We solved it.
We did.
Case closed.
You're welcome.
You're cured.
Wow. Ugh, I really want to know what happens. And also would love to, I'm just going to have to like look up like what like a
like an online
BDSM
Yeah, I
is.
tried to do like a quick search and it was more just like
But I think you're right.
Sites.
There's like the financial dominance, like all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'm super involved in that. Like, I love hearing about that kind of shit.
So
I had a guy that recently I was like fin doming, and I didn't even realize that I was fin doming, financially dominating them.
Him?
Yeah, so like he would be like, "I'll pay you for pictures of your feet," and I was
thought
like,
you were paying him for.
"Oh God, no! I've got bills and things."
Yeah,
and I was like feeling bad because this guy I don't think has a lot of money, but he was giving me a lot of his paycheck, and I was like, oh, I really shouldn't. And I would be like, are you sure? And then I went on and did a podcast with a woman who is a professional dominatrix, and she was like, no, if you empathize with him, it takes the sexiness out of him. You'd be like, I don't give a fuck if you didn't get your paycheck yet. Like, you fucking find a way. And I was like, oh, I have to be rude.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I just don't know that I'm like made out for that kind of. I just feel too bad, man. I'm like, I'll be okay. Don't go into financial dire straits because of my feet. Like, I need to go get a pedicure today. That's what I'm going to do after I leave here.
We've always wanted to get into like selling feet pics.
Yeah.
You could in a heart. What do you mean?
Have you seen her feet?
I feel like they're disgusting.
No, I've got. It would be like there would be a niche for people who'd be into it. But
are you not on Wiki Feet?
No, I am. I've got a pretty okay rating. I have really big feet and I have really long toes. And in my mind, the only thing people are gonna add, like if I did feet pic, it's gonna be like. I need like put a dick between your toes. Like I think it's gonna be that.
I think you could easily make $150 a pop for just picking things up with your toes.
I can do that.
Dude, and
They're
it's
very
not
long.
weird at all.
They're basically fingers.
They're finger toes. I have a boyfriend with finger toes, and I always put my hand in them like we're holding hands. And I'll take a picture, and it's so gross. But
that's me.
You could and it's not like sexy, right?
Yeah, no, I love attention.
That you could easily just get like your Amazon bills paid from feet
Wow,
pics.
you are enticing. You knew you spoke
Because
my language.
my weakness is my Amazon wish list.
Okay, do we have one more?
Hey, Megan and Melissa and guest. I'm calling because I got some rather shitty medical news today. I got called while at work, which was fucking fantastic, that I had an irregular pap smear. And so they ran some tests. I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't know what tests those were, but my irregular pap smear turned out to lead to the discovery that I am HPV positive. Side note, I had originally thought she said HIV positive, so that was really just not great. But yeah. So yes, I'm HPV positive, and from what I was told, there are hundreds of different strands of HPV, and luckily I do not happen to have the few strands that are directly linked to a very high increase of the potential to get cervical cancer. So at least there's that small silver lining. However, I just don't know a lot about HPV. Believe me, I've been doing research all day long and everything else like that. And I know you guys aren't doctors. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for you guys to like diagnose me. I'm already in how I feel right now is fucked, kind of. But I'm just trying to like deal with it all. I'm not really sure how to deal with it. It just feels like a lot. And I feel like I'm making it out to be a much larger issue than it really is. Like I talked to my boyfriend about it, I talked to my mom about it, but it's just, I feel kind of alone in it because obviously my boyfriend doesn't have a fucking cervix. And for my mom, it's like, I don't know, my mom's kind of terrible at giving advice, which kind of sucks. But I was never vaccinated also as a child. I talked to my mom about that today. I never finished like the series of shots, I guess. I don't know. We kind of had an argument about it, which sucked. But anyway, I don't know. I guess I'm asking for advice on how to kind of deal with it, and maybe hopefully somebody else out there gets some kind of gain from hearing your guys' advice for my story. So thanks so much. Love your podcast. Like always listening to it. Yeah, seriously love it. Okay. Bye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It sucks. But you are so right in the sense that this is not, it could be a lot worse. My mom had HPV and she ended up getting cervical cancer and she's okay. So it's also not a death sentence, even if you did have the strains that do lead to cancer. Modern medicine is amazing and great. There's something that like, I'm only familiar with HPV in like the cancerous sense. Like I don't really know much about.
I think it's like genital warts, right?
You can like it can do cancer, or it can be genital warts, or you can just have like no signs. So she probably doesn't have signs,
right?
And so it goes like it usually just goes away. It's the most common STD. Pretty much everybody has had it at some point or another, and it'll generally go away. Also, your boyfriend probably has it too.
Yeah. And he could have given it to you.
He probably did give it to her.
Because men don't, they're not,
they don't
have immunizations.
Yeah, they don't have the immunization.
So he should get tested as well.
It's really, I don't want to like minimize your feelings because you definitely need to feel that like grief or loss or whatever you're feeling about the diagnosis, but it really is not a huge deal. And I know that that's like, I'm not trying to be flippant about it and like don't care about it and just like fuck whoever you want and like you and your boyfriend shouldn't use protection or whatever. But I interviewed a herpes specialist on my podcast who said something that I'll never forget. She said, it is so much harder to find a good person than it is to find someone that doesn't have something like an STD or herpes or HPV in this situation. And it really is just about management at this point. And that's going to be the biggest pain in the ass. It's not going to be the emotional tear. And, you know, the more educated you do get about it, like I've dated people that have type 1 and type 2 herpes and have had, 5 years ago would have been like, oh my God, never. 10 years ago, actually, it was when I dated this person. Anyways, I would have been like, oh my God, never. It's like a death sentence. I would never sleep with someone with herpes. But the way they educated me about it, and I was like, oh my God, what are the real statistics about like transmission and shedding and what preventative measures can we take? And the more they explained it to me, the safer I felt, because really there's no one going around talking about this kind of stuff. Like we barely have opened the door with talking about STDs before sleeping with people. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But the more you are educated about it, the more power you're going to feel and have about it. Because right now it probably just seems really scary because you don't know anything about it. And being told you have something and having no clue what it is can be really terrifying. But I think the more you learn about it, you're going to realize that it's just going to be like annoying.
Yeah.
It's just going to be maintenance
and
and
it'll probably go away.
Right.
So I would say instead of looking on the internet, talk to your doctor more about it.
Yeah.
And doctors have like YouTube tutorials now. Like my gyno has a fucking tutorial for everything.
Wow.
Like her name is I forget her Zaz Varkey. Varkey's her last name. Just look up Dr. Varkey, and she has so much that you can watch little tutorials about. Like, here are the real facts. Here's what's fiction, and I like that. Like, don't go down a weird Reddit thread rabbit hole.
And I think there should be it's a double-edged sword in the sense that I think like you probably feel like really thrown for a loop that you had no idea, and it just feels like this diagnosis or whatever. But also think about the fact that you've lived this long and had no idea. Like you haven't been suffering or from what it doesn't sound like you've known that something was up or you're dealing with all of these symptoms. Just because you have a diagnosis doesn't also mean that that's going to change how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Like if you didn't know before, I get that it's so scary to think that you could be walking around and then have no idea that there's something that's up, but also that now that you know that it's up, you didn't have to find out because you were in terrible pain or something was going on. Like you found out in a way that's like you're able to approach like how you're going to go about this from a way that you might not, it doesn't sound like you're necessarily experiencing like terrible symptoms right now. And even if you are, I've got a friend who just got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and I told her, I was like, I'm sorry, is it weird that I'm really happy for you? And she was like, no, I am so fucking happy that like I can now like even just knowing that I have something and I'm not crazy. Like there is power in that knowledge. And it's like, again, like there's so many men have it. Like I think it's the most common STD.
It is.
And it's like, without a doubt, like everybody goes through all that. And like, I understand your anger to your mom about the vaccination. I will say the vaccinations were insane for that because my mom had it when I was in, she had HPV before, but she got cervical cancer when I was in 5th grade. So I was young. So I ended up getting all of my like shots super early, got all of that stuff. But it's like, you have to get one shot, then you have to wait like 7 months and then 3 months, then like 2 weeks. And it's this whole long thing. And doctors still really, unless you have a personal experience with it, doctors aren't up on your ass to get it done immediately. And you're also not really thinking about your like 10-year-old, 13-year-old kid in regards to STDs. You're thinking like, oh, I don't want them to get the measles. I don't want them to get like all of these other like polio, these things. Like I understand that, like, I think it's valid how you feel regardless. And I get that like there's some sort of anger that you feel like it could have been prevented, but just know that like, it's so like you talking about on the podcast and saying that you want other people to hear this, like that's the great work that should be done, because it isn't really treated in the same way. That vaccine is not treated in the same way. Like you can go to school without being vaccinated for that.
And I think like I get chronic yeast infections. So like literally 6 to 10 times a year I am out of service. And I had a really hard time going back to having regular sex or being intimate with anyone, because I just felt like gross. I kept being like, my pussy's turned against me. Like it stinks. It's got fucking cheese coming out of it. Like, I was just like, I was just so grossed out by my own body for a while. And I think, like, if you're feeling any of that kind of shame, the best thing you can do is, again, like, not only talk to your doctor to try and normalize it and get in conversations where it is more common, but like, just being kind to your body and doing some fucking dumbass mantras and like really some body work and mindful meditation and like all this woo-woo foo-foo LA shit really is important, because right now, like, I try and think of like my pussy having a personality and it's scared. Like, it's also like, what's like,
why are you mad at me?
Yeah.
I'm just doing the best that I can.
And I literally talk to it like it's a person or like a pet or something, just being like, I'm not mad at you. Like, we've got this together. We're going to figure this out. I'm strong for you and you can be strong for me when I'm not, because it's really easy to also then shame yourself. Like, how did I do this? How did I get this? Why is this my fault? Like, should I have done this, that, the other, vaccinations, the condoms, whatever. The truth is like, everyone's going to get a fucking STD at some point in their life. And it's just about how you manage it. And so freak out now, give yourself time to freak out. And then it's time to go into like, management mode.
And I think also a good thing as well as talking to your doctor, and also still, again, not just like Google WebMDing all of this stuff. Go on to like specific Reddit threads of people with this specific strain of HPV. So you're not looking at, because that's the whole thing. It's like HPV, when you look it up, it's really just going to talk about the cancerous aspects of it. Look up like forums of people who are also dealing with the exact same thing as you, who it's not the cancerous fear in there. It's just that aspect of it, because you're allowed to feel how you feel. And if you feel silenced by the fact that you're not allowed to complain unless it's the cancerous one, like, there is information and like other people who struggle and deal with that stuff too. And it's not your fault. It's nobody like else's fault. Like, it's just a thing that happens. And the thing that sucks with HPV, unlike a lot of these other STDs, is there is a link to something that's much scarier and greater. But at the end of the day, like, if you think about it in the sense that like it's like mono or strep throat, like someone
caught it early.
Someone could have given it to you, like someone who had no idea like that they gave it to you. Like, it's not about like your cleanliness or like
cheating.
your judgment call on somebody. It's like the dormant thing that nobody, and like you didn't even know that you had. So I think getting your boyfriend like tested for it, talking to your doctor about like what you can do or what you should do, and like educating yourself, because I think like, again, like we said, not to minimize your feelings, but I think the more that you can like learn and know about it, I think like it probably fucking sucks right now. If you give it a couple weeks, a couple months, it's just going to be, again, like you said, just an annoying thing that sometimes you have to deal with, sometimes needs a little extra maintenance. Like sometimes, again, everybody has something that they have to deal with. Okay, is it time for
Don't Blame Them?
Woo-hoo! So this is when you guys call in with your own advice regarding previous episodes. So
this is from the episode with Nicole Byer.
Love her.
An icon.
So funny.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. So I'm responding to the episode with Nicole Byer and the girl whose boyfriend had like a spank bank of her and her friends. So I've kind of been in a similar situation. So in college, I had two roommates, and one of them had a boyfriend. He used to stay over a lot. And like we all got along and we hung out and stuff, but we just thought he was kind of weird. So they ended up getting into an argument, and like she went through his phone and found a folder of like photos of her and our like small group of friends. Same kind of thing, like Facebook, Instagram screenshots. And it was just really weird and like unsettling. She asked if like he had done anything with them, and he said no. I don't really believe that. But she also found like photos of her that he had taken of her that she didn't know about, and like strangers in public. So he had like some weird ass type of issues that he was like doing that, and it was very weird. So I'm not trying to like make this girl like paranoid or anything. I do kind of agree with you guys, like if there's screenshots, it could be like a fantasy or whatever, like no bad intention, but just being on the other side of it and like having my photos on like this guy's phone is just like creepy, considering he used to like hang out with us and like stay over in our building. So yeah, I would just be wary, because like boys are dumb, and like
you don't leave evidence like that, like on your phone where someone could find it and like label it. Like this guy literally had it labeled like blank's friends. Like, can you be that stupid? I don't know. So it's just really creepy. And I know this is like a super specific, like weird kind of dude, but I just thought I'd share because it's like on the other side of the extreme. So yeah, I hope this girl's relationship goes a little bit better. But yeah, I love the podcast. Bye.
Wow, I never even thought about it from the perspective of like a friend whose photos in there, and then being like, I don't like that your boyfriend has photos of me without my consent.
So
that makes a lot of
put
sense.
my butt on Instagram like once a week if I can, though. So I feel like I'm kind of asking for it.
Well, also like, but if it was one of your friend's boyfriends, that's because that's the difference. It's not a random dude. No. It's like if you found out that like your friend's boyfriend had a folder of pictures of you and her and all that stuff. Yeah, I think that totally. Yeah. I never thought about it. I didn't think it. Yeah,
that's why we do this, so everybody can give the different angles.
But also, this guy does sound like fucking Ted Bundy.
Yeah,
like
creepy.
And like, as much as you were like, what kind of guy like labels and leaves it? Like, yes, men are.
I was
stupid.
like, I feel like I know some.
So stupid.
I mean,
have folders called.
This is the second person that's called in. There's probably somebody else that has the same thing. So it's problems are not unique.
Yeah. No, but
that's a good point.
Gosh, yeah. I think also like it's a. I mean, yeah, I could never. I wouldn't be good dating a guy who had pictures of like my friends. I'm too jealous for that. Okay, well that's it for this episode. Yay! Oh my God, Kelsey, thank you much for being on. So plug your shit.
Just follow me on all the things, Kelsey Darragh, and then come over to Confidently Pod, which you still haven't come on yet.
Oh my God, I'll come.
Which one of these 3 people do I talk to make you come on it?
Nobody.
Okay, great. I'll figure it out.
You could talk to me, but I would have to CC someone so I won't forget.
There you go. Perfect. We'll do that.
That's a good call. And where do people get feet pics? Slide into your DMs.
Oh my God, please slide into my DMs and pay me for pictures of my feet. I'm going to get a pedicure literally right now.
Slide into all of our DMs because I'm
for this podcast.
I'm enticed by all of this.
There you go.
If you guys want to be on an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio file at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. What else? Follow us on Instagram. Don't Blom Meme Pod.
Don't blom me.
Don't Blom Meme Pod. Follow our socials will be listed down below. Get my presets. # Megan Rings presets. Fuck yeah. And that's it, right?
That's it.
Okay. See you guys next time. Goodbye. Whatever struggles you're facing, from depression and anxiety to trauma and grief, BetterHelp can help you connect with a professional counselor in a safe and private online environment. It's so convenient that you can schedule secure video or phone sessions, as well as chat and text with your therapist. And anything you share is completely confidential. Best of all, it is a truly affordable option. Our listeners even get 10% off your first month with the discount code BLAME. So why not get started? Simply go to betterhelp.com/blame and fill out a questionnaire to get matched with a counselor you'll love today. Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts. Camera operator Amanda Lechner. And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso, part of the HerPod Network.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent.
And I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.